G'day and welcome to another edition of Hef's Homebrew. Earlier on the channel I did a tasting of a juicy XPA which I brewed from a fresh wort kit. That was just a 2-week tasting video. That one is 7 weeks now that it's been in the bottle, so I'll need to do a full review of that one, which I'll try and do within the next week or so. But what I'm doing today is reviewing an extract brew, a Pacific Ale clone, which was brewed from a Morgan's kit. It was brewed back in October, and I'll go through the particulars in a minute. I'm down to my last few long necks of that. It's been in the bottle for about 12 weeks now, so it's really at its full maturity, and as I said, I'm almost at the end of the batch, so it's time to do a proper review of it. So what it was, the fermentables was a tin or a can of Morgan's Pacific Pale Ale and a tin of Morgan's wheat malt. So both in liquid form, and I didn't use the kit yeast. I used a packet or 11.5 grams of US-05. Was pitched dry, and it was fermented at ambient temperature. Now, the temperature was reasonably stable. It ranged from about 20 to 24, so not too bad, but getting up to the upper end that you'd want for that yeast. If I were to brew it again, and I will, I'll talk about it later, it would be temperature controlled, obviously. The starting gravity was 1040. After 5 days it was down to 1010, which was giving an ABV of just under 4%, or it was 3.94, I'd say. I then went a bit old school and racked it into or transferred it into a secondary fermenter and dry hopped it with 24 grams of Galaxy and 12 grams of Cascade, and it sat in the secondary just for 3 days. I was a little bit pressured for time, and then got it in the bottle. So what I really want to highlight during this video is the ease of which this beer was brewed, and why it is so much better than the kit beer that you're likely to get if you brew as per the instructions on your newly purchased all-in-one, everything wham bam ready to go Morgan's or Cooper's starter kit. So this is a long neck. As you can see, it's not filled up to the top. That's because I was hoping to film this 24 hours ago, but the kids were going crazy, and still had to have my beer, which I did, but wasn't able to film. So still good fizz. Because it's the second half of the bottle, it is likely to be a bit more cloudy than it was last night. Good carbonation. Okay, didn't pour it terribly aggressively, so it hasn't come up with as much head as I would like. And as I said, it is a bit hazier because it's obviously got some of the sediment left from the bottle. So bottled with 2 carbonation drops per bottle, so that means approximately an ABV of around 4.4%. So it looks darker on camera, but it's a golden colour. If you were to see what it is coming out of a new bottle, then it's pretty clear, and obviously if you were to decant the bottle into a jug or something and then do another pour, that would also help in terms of clarity. But it is reasonably clear. especially considering the fact that there was no finings added, no cold crashing or anything like that. More time in the bottle, more time in the fridge obviously helps as well. Okay, the aroma. Look, it actually smells pretty hoppy, considering that it's a pretty small dry hop. It smells pretty hoppy, so you're getting the tropical fruits and the citrus coming through in the aroma. Now, the taste test. Cheers. Okay, good carbonation. Really appropriate for the style of beer. It is light-bodied. There is a little bit of malt coming through in the taste. Yeah, there's a touch of kit twang, but that's obviously decreased over time. As I said, we're up to 12 weeks now in the bottle, so that's decreased. And there is a nice, pleasant tropical fruit and citrus fruit taste that's coming through from the Galaxy and the Cascade hops. And I have to say, obviously it's gotten better as it's had more time in the bottle, as any home brewer, especially extract brewer, would tell you. Time is your best friend, and I've got to say that is so much better than what you'd get if you brewed what the homebrew company is probably calling a lager, your Morgan's Blue Mountain Lager or your Cooper's Lager or your draft. But in reality, if you follow the instructions and use the kit yeast, it's not going to be a lager. It's going to be an ale brewed with a small amount of generic ale yeast. My advice would be, if you're purchasing one of those kits, and yeah, they're absolutely great, perfect way to get started, don't brew that beer straight away. Put it to one side, brew it later on when you've got a bit more experience, brew it with a lager yeast and brew it at lager temperatures. My first beer, and this is my second brew, only my second home brew. I did brew the beer that came with the starter kit, which was the Morgan's Blue Mountain Lager. I did use the kit yeast. It was brewed at ambient or fermented at ambient temperature. The kit was old. The yeast was more than likely pretty much dead. I did do a small dry hop with Galaxy to try and improve it. And it's drinkable, but this is a lot better. This beer is one that I will brew again. I've easily got through the whole batch. It's been very pleasant to drink through summer. I've given it to several people to try, and they've all given me positive feedback about it. When I do brew it again, and if you're looking to brew it, there's a few things that I think that you can do to improve it. As I said, in its own right now, and it's super easy to brew it. If you don't have temperature control, then just plan ahead. Find somewhere that's reasonably stable in temperature, and it will still turn out okay, especially if it's not too hot. If you can find somewhere around 20 degrees, then that's perfect. Just the 2 tins of extract, some hot water. I used bottled water then to top up to 23 litres. Let it do its thing. Add the dry hops. Give it another 3 or 4 days, and then it's ready to bottle. So, improvements. What I would do is, I quite like a hoppy beer, so I think next time I'm going to try doing a small boil with some hops, just a small amount, and then add that to the 2 tins of extract. I also think that when I do the dry hop, I'm going to increase the quantity, so I'm happy with the Galaxy and Cascade. As I said, I went 24 and 12. I don't know if I'd quite double it, but maybe increase by 25 or 50%. So maybe doing 36 grams of Galaxy and then 18 of Cascade. I think that'll get it a bit hoppier, a bit more to my taste. And I would definitely ferment it now that I've got temperature control. So US05, happy with the performance of that yeast, but it's going to do better at a stable temperature, somewhere between 18 and 20, so I'll do that next time. And I'd also be interested in possibly adding something else just to give it a bit more body. It's not too thin or watery at the moment, but it is light, and in some ways that's a good thing. But I wouldn't mind experimenting. Maybe, I don't know whether it'd be worth adding another tin of extract if that would improve it, or some dex or some maltodextrin, something like that, and see what that does. And now I guess that would bump up the ABV a little bit as well. But I'm really happy with this as a second beer, one that's brewed entirely from the kit, just with a small dry hop at ambient temperatures, as I've said. It's a really drinkable homebrew. Is it as good as a commercial beer? No, probably not. But I got 23 litres of very pleasant drinking beer, and all up it would have cost me about $40 to brew. So really happy with that. Now, in terms of future brewing, I am planning to brew a stout, and I was hoping to get it down a couple of weeks ago, but life has gotten in the way, so I'm not sure when it's going to happen now, but it's given me an opportunity to explain what I'm hoping to do and potentially get some advice. So I want to do a milk stout, and I want to add potentially some chocolate and coffee flavours to it. I've got 2 tins of Blackrock oatmeal stout, which is going to be the base. I've got 200 grams of lactose, which I will boil and add, and that will obviously make it a milk stout. And then the advice, I've got some US04 is the yeast I'm going to use, 11.5 grams. Let me know in the comments if you've got experience with home brewing and you think I should use 2 packs instead of 1. I was advised to, for some chocolate flavour, to potentially just add some cocoa, boil some cocoa and add it just before bottling. And then from what I've read, potentially do the same with some ground coffee and add that just before bottling as well. But in terms of quantities, I don't know. I'm not sure if adding the coffee and cocoa is going to make it too bitter, or if that will just kind of help balance out any sweetness that you get from the lactose. Should I add coffee or some kind of chocolate or chocolate flavouring for the entire ferment, or just add it before bottling? Any advice on those kinds of things would be greatly appreciated. The theory behind brewing it in January obviously is to then allow it to have plenty of time to condition in the bottles, because I will be bottling it before it gets a bit cooler, and have it drinkable in a few months' time. So that's where I'm heading. This has been the Pacific Ale. If you are a beginner home brewer, then I'd highly recommend, as I said, brew something like this before you brew the lager or the draft that comes with your kit. Save that one for later on when you've got a bit more experience, where you've got some temperature control, and you can use the lager yeast as well, rather than the generic ale yeast that comes with a kit. So that's it. Happy brewing, happy drinking, and we'll see you in the next episode.